on wages, prices, and profits. Now, I know there are some people who say that this isn't any business of the President of the United States.
Hi guys, welcome back to Two Moms, One Mic. I'm Desiree and this is my co-host,
Nia. And today we're just going to be telling you guys why we decided to start Two Moms, One Mic.
Yep. So I would say we decided to make a podcast because every time we hung out, we're just talking about anything and everything, and this is what the podcast is about. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, we're moms and stuff, or young moms or whatever, but we just have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah, I feel like we have a lot of educated thoughts as well as like dumbass thoughts. Like it's like very sporadic up here, and I feel like Desiree feeds off of that, and I feel like we have a lot of things to talk about. We have a lot of information to give you guys. We have a lot of entertainment to give you guys, and I feel like our mission from the beginning was to kind of fight that negative stigma of young parenthood, and to also allow a safe space not only for moms but for dads, grandparents, anybody. And it goes beyond being a caregiver. It's just a safe space for everyone as a whole, because we talk about anything and everything.
No, literally what you said. And I feel like also at a certain point we do want to give back as well. Mm-hmm. Like we're thinking further. We want to do charities. We really want to set up things where less fortunate kids can have school supplies, backpacks, even warm mittens, things for the weather, mm-hmm. because not everyone is as fortunate as us. And also not everyone is as fortunate in our position as young moms ourselves, to even have I guess a platform in a sense. And I guess we really created this also a space safe for us, mm-hmm. because we didn't have this.
It's kind of it's therapeutic for us.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, to talk about things that, aren't really acceptable, or, most people don't feel comfortable.
Or kind of taboo.
Yeah, we talk about those things, and we kind of, I'm saying, the more that we talk, the more we realize we're going through the same things, and we have the same challenges. We have the same thoughts about certain things that people were like, why are you even thinking like that?
Right.
Or why is that crossing your mind? It's just but you never know what somebody else is thinking, or, how somebody can relate to you until you open up your mouth and you talk to people and you kind of let people in. And I feel like this is a vulnerable space as well, because it's just a vulnerable space. We're talking about literally anything and everything.
From literally from relationships to sex to
motherhood
to literally aliens.
Literally conspiracy theories. It goes far beyond just the whole, mom thing. It's for everybody. It's a very welcoming and open environment for anybody to stop through, listen. You can listen to this anywhere. And I feel like not only are we going to be coming from a parent standpoint, we're also going to be coming from a woman's standpoint too. A woman and a child standpoint. And we're all children to someone. We can all agree on something.
Oh, I like how you said that, because now that I'm a parent, I kind of literally talk to myself and put myself in a child standpoint. Yes. Do you do that?
Yeah.
Because I'm just okay, what would child me say?
Or sometimes I kind of I try to pre-prepare myself for when June gets a little older, and I'm just
same. I'd be going over
he's gonna do this, but you never know, because every child is different, and I'm pretty sure he won't be anything like me, like how I was as a child, especially now that I'm doing that inner work and kind of trying to take the gentle parenting route. Is just you can't prepare for that.
You can't prepare for it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest realization about parenthood. You're gonna make mistakes. It's gonna get messy, but honestly, it's so fun.
I feel like as long as you don't give up and you keep trying, and you got that fighting spirit behind it, it's never gonna be easy. It's something that's never gonna be easy. It's never gonna be
hard.
Linear. Yeah, it's never gonna be the same. So I just feel like you just got to take the bad shit with a grain of salt and just keep it pushing, and, learn how to apply what you learned from that bad situation or whatever the case may be.
And turn it into more a positive thing. Mm-hmm. And I also think that for us, we take a lot of negative things that's gone on in our life and kind of think on it and learn from it.
Yeah.
I think learning from your past experiences is really important.
Mm-hmm. So not only so that you don't make the same mistakes again, but
also
so that
you can understand.
You can understand from not only your point of view, from the other person's point of view, and that you can just apply that, like you said, apply that in your future or your everyday life or whatever, depending on the situation.
Yeah. That's basically pretty much.
Basically it.
But
yeah.
I don't know. I just know, like, at the end of the day, like, parenthood is one hell of a ride. But I'm actually happy to be on the wave because I feel like since I became a mother, I'm more open to my creativity.
Yeah.
Because I'm literally seeing the person I created and I can indulge in childlike things.
Right. And
like,
kind of
and have
relive
fun.
your
and,
own childhood.
Yes,
Yeah.
and be loose and just not really worry. Like, yeah, you're going to worry from, like, a parent or just in general as a person, like an adult. But I feel like I worry a lot less because I know at the end of the day, like, my daughter and I are going to be okay.
Right.
And that at the end of the day, I'm going to do whatever I need to set her up for better opportunities. I'm very privileged to have, like, a good support system because not everyone has access to that. I'm very privileged to even, like, have a baby in this age, honestly. So I can really acknowledge that, but I feel really appreciative that I can kind of raise my daughter the way I wanted to be raised, I guess. Like, my parents did a good job, if I do say myself. But I feel like I just want to give my daughter, like, her own world, I guess.
Yeah, but, like, also, like, I agree with what you just said, but I feel like sometimes when we step into that, I want to give my child everything that I didn't have, or I want to raise my child how I feel like I should have been. Like we said earlier in other episodes, you know, every kid is different.
Every kid is different.
So you can't just, you know, project what you wanted and like what you feel is right onto them. Like, I feel like it's important as parents that we sit down and ask our children, you know, like, what can mom do better? What can dad do better?
Definitely.
And how do you receive love, or how do you receive appreciation and things like that? Because what works for us may not work for them. And I feel like we can give and, like, you know what I'm saying?
They can take, but it might not be receptive to them.
Yeah, and they may think it is, okay, mommy's just buying me shit to fill a void in herself or something like that. When it's like, you know, we're not really seeing it entirely because we are still young. We're not seeing it entirely from the point of view of parents who, you know, make far bigger sacrifices than what we have. And I feel like we can't get lost in that because that's like something that I find myself doing now. Like, I was fucking spoiled brat, like spoiled brat growing up. Too. And like now, like with June, like I just like every week, let's go shopping. Like, he's not gonna be able to fit these damn clothes in the next 2 months. So I feel like I'm kind of projecting that on him, and that's something that I want to kind of like sit back and just be like, okay, Nia, what are you really doing here? Like, are you wanting him to have clothes because he needs clothes, or do you want him to have clothes because you want him to have a lot of things, you know? Right. And he's 8 months old. He doesn't even know what clothes are. Like, he doesn't even like to wear clothes. I'm like, you're wasting your money. And
but I feel like that's fun too. But the fact that you can acknowledge that says a lot too, because I feel like we're both very self-aware people and what we do and what we say and how we think and things like that. So even like, good job, like, for even acknowledging that.
Right.
Like, that's how you know that you have really, like, good intentions about raising your child. Like, I remember when I was talking to, it was like my brother's birthday. And I said, I want my daughter to be raised where she's questioning adults.
Yeah.
And they were like, what? Like, no.
I feel like, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
They're not gonna, you need to be like, I guess, the parent. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna have that parent relationship. But at the end of the day, I'm my daughter's first friend. She should have me as her first friend.
And people, when they hear friend,
they associate that with disrespect.
Yes.
Why
and
do you associate that with disrespect?
I feel like it's definitely important for you to have a relationship outside of parenthood with your child, because that just allows them to be more vulnerable, and it allows like another level of trust between you and your child. And I feel like, you know what I'm saying, generations before us, or even people now, they, like we said earlier, they confuse that with disrespect and whatever the case may be. And it's just like, it's different, you know what I'm saying, when you just let them do whatever they want. But when you have that separation of, okay, this is mom, and then now this is your friend. Like, that's like a healthy dynamic, I feel, because I feel like a lot of people associate children with, like, you know, they don't know anything and they're just this and that. They're just kids. Right. But I feel like kids are humans, and like a lot of people forget, like, kids are humans. They have their own thoughts. They have, you know, their own person. World. Yeah, they're their own person, and they kind of like try to put them in a box and like, you need to listen to authority because I'm older. You need to do this because I said so. But kids don't learn like that. Like, you have to
You have to talk to them.
Give them an explanation as to why you want them to do things, and that way they can apply that to other situations in their life, and they will actually listen. Because if you just say, "Oh, because I said so," it's just like,
what do you mean? Because you said so?
Find out why at this point, because I don't know why you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Why are you telling me this?
No, exactly. And I mean, I guess like I can view it kind of like from my mom's perspective, from my mom's and I relationship, for example. Like, we're open enough, but I feel like I more told her things out of fear of the consequences. And I don't really want that for my child. I want her to just become, like, I'm still going to tell my mom anything because we built that relationship.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like, I don't want my child feeling like that. I want her to just be able to come to me because she's just like, Mom, I need to talk to you. Like, just, can you help me see from a different perspective or anything like that? Because I feel like if you just have intentions like as that, like, she'll be able to gauge really on different people, different experiences, different places, things like that. And she can apply it to anywhere.
Right. And I feel like it's important for us to, like you said, be their first friend, because now that I'm looking back at, like, you know what I'm saying, when I was in school or whatever the case may be, I would be asking my friends for advice. These are people
who are
with not only on the same brainwave, but probably like less, you know, like that I'm asking these things to. So I'm getting myself in these situations that I would have never been in if I had like that open, you know what I'm saying, relationship where I felt like I could come to my mom and ask her certain things. Because I feel like if I had that, I would be, you know what I'm saying, on a totally different path. Not saying that I don't love where I am right now, because I also feel like,
no, definitely, I do understand
that's kind of created me to have my own thought process and kind of learn how to navigate the world on my own. But I feel like if I did have that safe space and, you know, that comfortability talking to her about certain things, then I would have known a lot more, and I wouldn't be listening to my little friends who don't know
I think I feel like I should have asked more questions, but at the same time, like, I mean, my parents only know so much what they were taught.
Right.
So I have to keep that in mind as well. But definitely, like, I went to my mom explaining stuff like that only when, like, shit was about to go south, really.
Yeah, like when it was, like,
it was like, oh, like, yeah, like, I need to tell her now before she blows up,
basically. Or she finds out.
Or she finds out, or I get a consequence from it. It wasn't like, but like what you said, you'll go to your peers and stuff. And as you said, like, they're on the same brainwave, not even less. Like, so that happens too. But it's just like, I want my daughter to come to me for a perspective if she needs it. I want that open relationship.
And not just out of fear.
You know? Not out of fear, exactly. Like, what if you just what if you're just curious? What if you want to ask her questions? And I feel like I did that with my mom, but I just didn't ask her certain things or tell her certain things because out of fear of a reaction.
Right.
Like, not to say that she had a negative reaction about certain things, but it's just like, it was kind of uncomfortable, I guess.
I remember, like, very distinctly, I believe I was in like 10th grade. And this was like a random question. I was like, Mom, what would you do if I was pregnant? And like, I was literally like, this is just me,
I definitely asked that my mom before.
And she's like, you wouldn't be my daughter anymore. And like, that stuck with me because when I actually got pregnant, when I first got pregnant, I was like, you know, maybe I don't want this baby because then I won't be my mom's baby. And like, I was like, but then I had to snap out of it. I'm like, Tania, this is your life. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, your mom is not going to be taking care of this kid. You are. And it's like, but I was still kind of scared because, it's like, how could you say that to your child? I'm like, how do you expect me to actually come to you when that time comes? And, you know, that stuck with me. And that's why I waited so long to tell her that I was pregnant, because of just that moment. Like, you won't be my daughter anymore. Like,
oh my goodness.
I don't.
That's really why I watch my words, because your words really carry.
And like, I'm pretty sure she didn't think that would stick the way it did. But like, that shit hurt my feelings. Like, even like in that moment while I was playing, I was like, okay, bitch.
My mom didn't say like she would do that, but all she said was that I'm not gonna be taking care of no baby, and that's understandable. That's pretty understandable. Yeah. So I was just like, okay, that's good reason.
But I feel like she went a little too far by saying that, because that's really what stuck with me, and that's what I didn't feel comfortable telling her, like, when I was pregnant. And of course, like, now they have the same birthday, so she calls him twin and everything. So like, she loves him, but like, that's
just like grandparents. Yeah, I feel like this is because like.
They can talk all that shit, but like, they don't love them at the end of the day.
Man, in the beginning of my pregnancy, all hell broke loose. Jesus Christ.
If Desiree's comfortable, we'll go more into detail.
We'll go more into detail in another episode. But all hell broke loose when I first got pregnant. It was just honestly really triggering and traumatic, honestly. But at the same time, I learned a lot from it. And my family, they have my I feel like at the end of the day, I knew my family would have my back.
Right. Me too.
It kind of made me like feel better. Like I guess like when I was pregnant, I guess I was just really going through the motion. What I'm doing with my life right now, if I got an abortion, that would make my life so much worse.
Yeah, I feel like my life would be like shit right now. Because I would probably have that guilty feeling in the back of my head. And then I was like, well, fuck it. I don't have no responsibilities now.
And then Ava's birthday was yesterday. Right. I felt like if I didn't have Ava.
Happy birthday, Ava.
Oh my God. I don't know how would I feel. Like, I'd probably be depressed.
Yeah. And I'd probably trying to make another baby.
No, dead ass.
Make up for it.
Dead ass. No, dead ass. So I'm just glad how everything worked out because I feel like at the end of the day, I knew what was best for me.
Right, and you knew you can handle that situation.
Yeah, and I knew I could handle it because, I don't know, like I'm very determined when I set my mind to something. Right. So I think I was just, in my head when I like was going through the motion of having a kid and stuff, like, yeah, it's new, but I was just like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
And I feel like not having, you know, that initial freedom while being pregnant and like being a new mom of being kind of like stuck in the house or whatever kind of made me more excited to start this with Desiree. And
just like we're literally branching out. Like,
yeah,
we've seen each other come out our own shells.
Yeah. Like
just in the past year. Because in the past year, we're just literally staying in the house, not doing anything. Like,
just depressed.
Just depressed and sad.
Yeah.
But then once we were like, let's go do this for the kids. Let's go here. Let's go do that.
And it was really like nice and like inviting to have someone in the same position as me. Like,
right.
Literally,
I
like,
literally
low-key the same position.
I thought I was just going to do this by myself.
Yes. It's such a relief having a friend and someone like who can relate to you on so many different levels. It's really comforting. And I really appreciate having you in my life.
I appreciate having you in my life because I mean, I can come to you for not only, like, just other things, because you have a really good perspective on things. Like, whenever I talk to you about certain things, you can kind of flip it and be like, consider this. Like, why don't you consider that? Or things like that. And, like,
I'm that friend that's never going to, like, if you're wrong, I'm going to tell you you're wrong.
Yeah,
or,
definitely.
Like, if I feel like you're coming from, like, you're speaking from emotions and not logical, I'm going to, like, you know, kind of press that on you to think about it from this perspective.
Yes. And I do appreciate that. And I think it's just refreshing to have a friend like that. But also it's just, like, we can literally have each other for advice for, like, parents, too. Like, oh, my gosh. Like, it's so exciting and so fun seeing, like, both our children grow up next to each other, literally. Like, they're about 3 months apart. But just seeing the different milestones from both of them.
And, like, once one hits one milestone, the other one's right behind them. Right? Or, like, trying to catch up. It's so exciting. It's so exciting, and it's just so comforting. You know, like I said,
very
like, comforting to have someone who you can relate to on so many different levels. Someone who doesn't judge you. Someone who can give you advice when you need it, and vice versa. It's just comforting.
And it's also cool the fact that like we looked at both our birth charts and our kids, so
we have a lot of
that's a lot in common. Like, it was so freaky because both our kids
go ahead.
Yeah, both our kids, like, your baby was born at 11:02, and then my baby was born at 1:02,
and they were born at the same hospital. We did not know this until later.
Not know this.
Yeah.
And we literally talked about this a few days ago.
Yeah.
It was so cool because, like, they basically mean the same thing. Like, I feel like we were meant to have our children to go on our path we needed, honestly. Even if, like, things don't work out with the father, for example. Honestly, I'm on my own journey.
Right.
Like, that's just all what I'm about. Like, I'm just so excited to see what's next.
Right. Find your own path in life, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, that was all for today's episode. We're just giving you a little insight on why we decided to start Two Moms, One Mic. Once again, I'm Nia.
And this is Desiree, and we'll see you next week.
Mic drop. Boom.